The state track meet took place, and the AAA girls shot put competition got a lot of attention. Why did it get a lot of attention? Well, Becky Pepper Jackson, a sophomore at Bridgeport High School, won the girls' class AAA state championship in shot put. Jackson won it with a personal record, 38 feet 11 inches. All of that is not necessarily that newsworthy until you get to the point which you already know. Becky Pepper Jackson is a boy who identifies as a girl. That caught fire online about a day after the actual results, with many people weighing in with their reactions. So I have thoughts. First thought is nobody, I don't want to say nobody, but most people, this is not even an argument or a discussion. Jackson should not be competing with the girls. However you want to slice it up, Becky Pepper Jackson was born a boy, is a boy, and will forever be a boy. Doesn't matter. No matter what you say, that does not change. Now, that discussion for me is over. That argument's not even worth having. Society has moved on from the foolishness of that argument. That is an 80-20 issue. What I was taken by was the reaction that somehow this could have been prevented by the WVSSAC, the Harrison County Board of Education, the State Board of Education, or the state legislature. Listen closely. Anybody who tells you that any of those entities could have or should have prevented this are lying to you. They are flat out lying to you, because West Virginia has handled this issue on more than one occasion. In 2021, the state legislature passed the law, the Save Women's Sports Act. The act mandates that school sport teams must be based on biological sex at birth. Under the law, males are not permitted to compete with girls or on women's teams. State went a step further in 2025. Governor Morrissey signed the bill, the Riley-Gaines Act, which defines legally man and woman and restricts individuals to locker rooms and spaces of their own sex. But that 2021 law, and the reason Jackson was able to compete in the girls' competition, is because that law was challenged in court. At the local level, it got through the 4th U.S. Circuit Court and is currently pending with the United States Supreme Court. A federal judge blocked its enforcement while that case works its way up and has worked its way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Oral arguments were held in January and will likely get a ruling from the United States Supreme Court this summer. I gave you that history to say anyone who tells you that the Secondary Schools Activities Commission allowed this to happen or permitted it to happen is lying to you. Anyone who tells you that the Board of Education, whether at the local level or state level, is responsible is lying to you. West Virginia has addressed this issue. The legislature has weighed in on this issue. Passed a state law. Now, once a federal judge steps in and says you cannot enforce that, the legislature, the Board of Education, the SSAC, doesn't matter. Nobody's going to override that. And any insinuation, assertion, or claim otherwise, I say again, you are being lied to. And that's what grabbed my attention, was the willful ignorance of some who are looking for nothing more than to boost their own self-glorification online over the weekend, insisting that those entities should have or could have stepped in. Absolutely not. You can't overrule the 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. And the U.S. Supreme Court is going to have the ultimate say. We'll get a ruling this summer, one way or the other. Yay or nay, from the United States Supreme Court. Oral arguments were in January. We'll probably get something this summer. So the idea that any of these entities could have or should have stepped in is complete fallacy. Secondly, not done yet, I also have an issue with the state lawmakers and others who suddenly have this passionate interest in high school athletics. I have been involved in high school and varsity sports almost my entire life, either as a player, as a member of the media here in West Virginia, as the husband of a coach. I have been involved and played and sat through games and covered them and supported programs. If more of you who feel so passionately about this particular issue would actually support your local high school teams and programs, they'd have to build bigger arenas, bigger gymnasiums to fit everybody into. I go to these games. Who attends? Parents and grandparents. Which is great. But these school systems are struggling. Student athletes actually have to pay fees in some instances to participate because they have to pay. They have to pay for equipment. You got to pay for buses. You got to pay for this. If some of you who felt so passionately to get online, you keyboard warriors felt so passionately, get out and support your local high schools. Athletic boosters. Go to the game. Buy a ticket. That goes a long way. That goes a long way to keeping the lights on. Donate to the athletic boosters rather than virtue signal online. That's my rant. Back to the start. Nobody is making the argument that boys should be competing with girls. That argument is settled in the state. Quite frankly, it's settled across much of the country. It's an 80-20 issue. My issue in particular was the assertion and the claim that this could have been prevented by any one of these organizations, that these organizations need to be blown up, torn down, and abolished because of this issue that they have no control over at this point. None. And you really want to support your student athletes, you really want to support these programs, go to the games, buy a ticket, support the athletic boosters. That goes a lot further than online keyboard warriors. Your thoughts, 304 Talk, 304